Assalamualaikum and good greetings. So today I'll be watching a video titled Canadian Hipster Converts to Islam During the Pandemic. So yeah, interesting to know the story. Without further ado, let's watch.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello everybody, welcome to this video.
Today we have another unique conversation story coming out from Canada. It's a story of dedicated self-awareness and persistence. So let's meet Damien Zielinski.
Me, a guy who was born and raised in Toronto, Ontario in Canada, came to accept Islam in the middle of the global COVID-19 pandemic. Ooh.
Damien is a clinical nutritionist and mental health consultant based in Toronto, Canada. Damien uses a holistic approach to promote health and well-being. How the journey to Islam started. As he would say himself, everything that happened from the moment he started paying attention to his spiritual side were tiles carefully laid out on his path to becoming a Muslim. What were these tiles, and what role did they play in making the new Damien Zielinski who prays 5 times a day? It's hard to understand because Allah guides whom He wills and destroys who He wills without question. Through the divine guidance of Allah, many have been saved from the eternal lives of pain and anguish. Alhamdulillah for making us Muslims. But for some, to recognize that this is Allah's guidance, guiding them somewhere takes a discerning spirit and spiritual awareness. Watch this video till the end, and I believe you would agree with me on this one. During the peak of the global COVID-19 pandemic, there was a lot of lashing out from those who abided by the COVID-19 protocols to those who chose to ignore them. It's a natural human instinct to react with emotion, especially when a lot is at stake. However, lashing out on those who chose to ignore the guidelines didn't solve any problem. It certainly didn't make them start following the protocols. To Damien, some of these people reacting with anger and vitriol were people he held in high esteem spiritually and mentally. It was this situation Damien witnessed that had him react almost similar to those lashing out the same way they were lashing out at the other sect. He realized that the same thing was happening to him. He was judging them for judging others. Then it dawned on him that this was a spiritual problem. A spiritual problem, a spiritual crisis that he is embroiled in. This was when he started paying more attention to his spiritual side. The carefully laid out tiles to the final destination. As expressed by him in a video, a sequence of events occurred that culminated into the big decision to take the Shahada between April 2020 to October 2020. It all began when he started a relationship with a Muslimah, a relationship they both assumed would lead to marriage, or at least that was what they thought. Although Damien never engaged her, they constantly made plans for their married life if it happens, but the relationship crashed. Even though the relationship didn't survive, it didn't end without leaving Damien with an invaluable gift, one that would one day lead him to accept Islam. During the relationship, his girlfriend sent him links to YouTube videos whose contents were stories of new Muslim converts. In his words, this single act was like an earthquake in my world. It was so shocking.
One of the big things that she sent me that just was like an earthquake in my world, that I just thought was so shocking, was exactly like this: revert stories on YouTube, where I saw people from my own backyard, people from thousands of miles away, people who looked like me, people who didn't look like me, talking about how they came to find Islam. And I just thought, wow. And you got to understand, growing up here in Toronto, like, we're sort of brought up to think that we have a respect for every culture and every religion, but what that chauvinism that we develop around this notion of just how tolerant we think we are obscures is how ignorant we really are of other faith traditions.
Growing up in Canada meant there was little to no information about Islam, Prophet Muhammad, and Muslims in general. This was a major issue, especially to those who had interest in Islam. Canada and the communities, like most Western countries, like to believe they are tolerant and welcoming to other ideas, cultures, and religions. There was no way to determine the extent of this, especially when they are completely shut out of certain cultures and religions. After watching these videos, Damien became more interested to the extent that he wrote emails to the 3 closest mosques to him. This was because the lockdown was still in effect and non-essential services, like the mosque, were still closed. The content of the email goes like this: Hey, I want to learn more about this religion. Is the mosque going to be open anytime soon? Can I come? Only one of the mosques sent a reply stating that there was...
This stock footage is interesting because this is a mosque in Malaysia, in Shah Alam, nearby where I grew up.
was no guarantee of any time the mosque would be open. but they hold Jummah services every Friday on Zoom, and non-Muslims are welcome to join. Joining the
This is interesting. The Jumu'ah prayer in Zoom. I assume is the khutbah, right?
Zoom Jummah session, listening to the khutbah every week was incredibly helpful in knowing more about Islam, clearing misconceptions, and further solidifying his choice to embrace Islam. For example, it was during one of the Friday khutbah that he got to realize the Holy Quran is not the Muslim Bible, rather, is the word of Allah as revealed to the Holy Prophet. Along the line, a lot of coincidental incidents happened that will further affirm
That is an important point. That because normally I also assume the same, right? Because we are from the outsiders, we assume the Bible is equivalent of Quran in Christianity. So I would assume that Christianity might, at the beginning, assume that Quran is similar to Bible as well. But the two is, different, fundamentally different in terms of what it claims to be, at least.
his belief in Islam. One of such was when an atheist friend sent him a video of the show Rami by the comedian Rami Youssef, which was quite informative to him. A divine explanation is unexplainable to the average man. The atheist friend was only recommending a good comedy show, but Allah had other plans. Several of such coincidences occurred while Damien continued to learn about Islam. It got to a point where he'd realized that even if his relationship with his Muslimah girlfriend didn't last, he was sure he would become a Muslim. Well, as destiny would have it, the relationship crashed. The ending of the relationship meant the beginning of a period of emotional crisis for Damien. For 2 weeks, he resorted to smoking weed and drinking to heal with the pain. During this period, he never stopped learning about Islam. Even though he was a bit lost for a moment, a reminder of what the future holds occurred to him one day during one of his weed runs when he saw a white Caucasian female in a niqab. This and many more events happened till he finally took the Shahada, the decision to finally submit to the will of Allah. Damien kept learning about Islam for months, learning about the 5 daily prayers and how to perform them. He also made preparations when he sensed that the time was close. In October 2020, he took the Shahada, and according to him, it's the best decision he ever made. Damien has a dedicated YouTube channel where he hopes to tell stories about his experience in the hope that it will be helpful to others.
Yeah, maybe I should check his channel and his direct stories, right? Because that's normally what I'm, into, right? To hear personal stories, because I think it is powerful. But this summarized, I think, is also a good thing. But anyway, so that's the story of, is it the Damien? I'm not sure, because the title is Canadian Hipster. I'm not sure what. I assume that in his original video, maybe that characteristics defines him originally or something. But in this video, I don't think it explained that part, hipster. But yeah. Anyway, so that's the story, and I do hope that just like the small building blocks or small instances or small coincidences, quote unquote, right, that leads to his journey to eventually become a Muslim. Me or my videos, any of my videos can be one of the small coincidences, instances, etc., that can help others to be eventually a Muslim. I hope that would be true one day. That would be a dream come true. That's the motivation of doing this, right? Anyway, so that's it for today. Thank you for watching. See you next time.